The 2024 Olympic Games in France are only 1 year away, and his national basketball team is under pressure to win a medal at the World Cup for the third consecutive time. A national team that, despite some big-name departures, has always been able to export talent to the NBA, but their performance has always been somewhat below expectations. So, what is their ceiling in this competition? France has quality players in absolutely every position, but it is true that they also have the absence of Victor Wembanyama. The player is preparing to face his rookie campaign in the NBA, and despite being one of the most hyped prospects in basketball history, France will have to wait to see him in action with the colors of his country at the senior level. In addition, it was rumored that Joel Embiid could have been available in Vincent Kooley's squad, but in the end, it came to nothing. In fact, Team USA's negotiations with the Congolese seem to be more advanced than with the European team. However, the team's rotation is still a dream, including the interior game. But let's start at the beginning. Each team has its architect from the point guard position, and in the case of the French team, Coach Vincent Kooley has at his disposal several talented players. One of the team's stalwarts for practically the last 2 decades has been Nando De Colo. The 36-year-old veteran guard is in the twilight of his career, but has experience in all competitions, including 3 seasons in the NBA with the San Antonio Spurs and Toronto Raptors. A point guard with scoring ability, he has always been able to ignite games. Frank Ntilikina, on the other hand, has not been able to live up to his expectations. The former 8th pick was selected in the theoretically spectacular 2014 draft, even being compared to Kobe Bryant himself. But despite not having come close to meeting them, he has managed to stay in the NBA, being the Charlotte Hornets his current team. A very different profile from Nando, who has characteristics and athleticism more oriented to the defensive side of the court. However, he has good offensive fundamentals that actually he has not been able to transform into efficiency. Finally, France will count on Sylvain Francisco, a third point guard who has no problem scoring but is certainly a bit undersized and can be haunted by opposing teams. At the shooting guard position, France will also have a multitude of talented players, which will hurt the depth at other positions. The most prominent name is Evan Fournier, who certainly has not enjoyed the best season of his NBA career. 6 points per game in just 27 games, and shooting a poor 33% from the field with the New York Knicks. But his leadership and ability to create advantages for his team are aspects that will surely help him compete against lower-level opponents. Fournier has great outside shooting ability, but he has also been able to create his own shooting situations throughout his career and averaged 15 points and 3 assists at the last 2022 Eurobasket. In addition, his replacement off the bench, Okobo, complements Fournier perfectly. Okobo plays for the Phoenix Suns, and despite playing a very minor role during his sophomore season, he offers France a defense-oriented alternative. He is not a player capable of organizing the offense, but he does know how to exploit his athletic advantages in the pick and roll, where most of his scoring will come from. And finally, Yakuba Ouattara will be the last piece of the backcourt, another case of an athletic player, but who is also a great three-point shooter. But France's problems may come at the forward position, where they only have 3 players for 2 positions. In fact, Terry Tarpe is the only player who can play small forward naturally. He is a wing somewhat undersized at 6'5", whose main attribute besides his outside shooting is his ability to create for his teammates. A good complement for a backcourt in which many players are more scorers than creators, as is the case of France. However, Kooley's main reference for this position is none other than the veteran tweener, Nicolas Batum, a player who, if we go back in time, was chosen at the end of the first round of the 2008 draft, and despite having a slow start in the NBA, settled as one of the most versatile forwards in the league. Good shooting, good defense, and good playmaking skills that he demonstrated on teams like the Charlotte Hornets. Since that time, Batum has pocketed nearly $200 million during his NBA career. Although he is 34 years old, his more than 15 years of experience in the league will provide France with a player with great basketball IQ. And the other remaining player at the forward positions is Guerschon Yabusele, currently playing for Real Madrid. A rare power forward, he has athleticism and great size but knows how to use them better on offense than on defense. However, his combination of weight and lack of size can make him suffer in some matchups. But France, like many other teams in the tournament, will have the option of playing small with Batum or even other undersized players at the power forward position, as he has played during his last NBA seasons. Yabusele has also been a vital piece of the French national team. averaging 15 points on an efficient 55% shooting from the field during last year's Eurobasket. And if France has the option to play smaller starting fives, it's because of the security they have when it comes to protecting the rim. The team's rotation of centers is very, very deep. Rudy Gobert, the Minnesota Timberwolves player, is not only a great rim protector at 7 feet 1 inch, but also one of the best defenders in the NBA, a role that, taking advantage of the lack of space in the static attack that we are used to seeing in FIBA, will be able to make his presence even greater. Rudy averaged 13 points and 10 rebounds with 65% shooting from the field during the last Eurobasket, so his performance in FIBA competitions is well proven. On the other hand, Mustafa Fall will offer an opposite profile in a player of even more size than Gobert. An offensive player, he nevertheless lacks the lateral quickness to get away from the rim on defense. And finally, France has a center undersized ideal to face the fastest teams. Like Fall, Matthias Lassort is playing in the Greek league. At 6 feet 7, he is a very small center but can run the court much faster. A very efficient scorer who will see his importance diminished by the great talent France accumulates at the position. Despite the absence of Wemby, France definitely has the position well covered. However, there is another casualty compared to the last tournament that will affect the French side the most. It is Thomas Heurtel, who this season has relaunched his career at Zenit St. Petersburg with great averages of 13.3 points and 8.6 assists, with a spectacular 43% from the three-line. At 34 years old, he would have been a player capable of leading the team in the decisive moments, in addition to making the rest of the players shine. A very sensitive loss that is not so much talked about, but whose real impact we will be able to see during the competition. Competition that, for the second time in its history, will host 32 teams in 8 groups to face the first round. And seeing the level of France's group, it won't be a piece of cake either. The French team has had the misfortune to find itself in the same group as Canada, which was not seeded first despite its enormous talent. In addition, Latvia and Lebanon will form a death group that may cause problems to the favorites. But even so, this 32-team World Cup will have a second group stage, in which the remaining 16 teams that have managed to advance in each group will again be divided into 4. And that is where the problems may begin. Group H, containing powerhouses France and Canada, will be mixed with Group G, containing Spain, Brazil, Ivory Coast, and Iran, placing 3 of the favored teams in the same group. And there will only be 2 places in the quarterfinals. In addition to having won 2 bronze medals in the last 2 editions of the Basketball World Cup, France has been very successful during the FIBA competitions in recent years. At the last Eurobasket 2022, they won silver, losing only to an underdog Spain team. And previously at the 2020 Olympic Games, they won a very important silver medal, losing in the final to the powerful United States team by only 5 points. However, France has not won a gold medal in an international competition since 2013, which is in fact the only time the French basketball team has managed to stand on the top of the podium. A shocking fact considering the enormous talent that the national team has been able to boast over the past 2 decades, including players of the likes of Tony Parker, Joakim Noah, Boris Diaw, or Michael Pietrus, in addition to those currently included such as Evan Fournier or Rudy Gobert. The Federation is eager to reap a triumph that will do justice to the level of the team. But other teams such as the United States, Canada, Australia, Serbia, Spain, or Slovenia will complicate the mission as much as possible. Will this finally be their moment?